talk to us? Are you still a no? Is there anything?
They convinced me in there. I'm a no.
Is there anything?
Look what, let me, their own numbers. If the Republican plan passes under the rosiest assumptions, which aren't even true, we're going to add $328 billion to the deficit this year. We're going to add $295 billion to the deficit the year after that, and $242 billion to the deficit after that, under the rosiest assumptions.
Rosiest.
Why would I vote for that?
Assumptions. Why would I vote for that?
Solidly a no?
Yeah, they convinced me. I was a lean no until this meeting. Now I'm a no.
This no confirmed.
This is a no.
Why? Why?
They're talking points. Look, these are not something I made up. This is the leadership's talking points. It adds $328 billion to the deficit.
This year.
It adds $295 billion to the deficit the year after that. The only way they get to this magic thing where it's not going to kill our country is 5 years from now, they imagine that 2.5% growth accumulates, and that even right here they say they're going to cap discretionary spending. You think we're going to cap discretionary spending and then spend at the rate of inflation after that? That has never happened. So their assumptions are wrong. But even if you take their assumptions at face value, they told us in there they're going to increase the deficit in 2025 by $328 billion. And I've been here long enough. I've been here 12 years, so I've seen a 10-year plan or two come all the way to 10 years.
And not come to fruition.
Under Boehner, we had these 10-year plans. Under Ryan, we had these 10-year plans. Anything past the third year never happens. Thanks.
Mr. Speaker, will the budget resolution
Are you planning
pass
to move
today?
tonight?
Yes, that's the plan.
Solutionaries, that was should be your favorite public servant, Thomas Massie. I chop it up with Thomas Massie every so often. I can shoot him a text. He's kind of busy at this moment, chopping through what is another so-called GOP, so-called supposed to be limited government spending fiscal situation, chopping that up and exposing it to the people. But anyway, Thomas Massie is liberty-based, libertarian, from representing the people of the great state of Kentucky, but he's a Republican, because y'all know how the duopoly goes, where you got to run as a Republican in some states or whatever. Y'all know that. And here, he's talking about the presentation or the bill that's being presented that he's maybe a no on, right, to call it lightly, because it adds more to the deficit. First year, 2025, $328 billion. Second year, I think he said $295 billion. Republicans and the GOP are supposed to be about limited government spending. Now, a lot of people say shit like, especially the MAGA crew, right? They'll say, oh, he's a grandstander. He's not getting down with Trump's plan. This is a Republican put together plan, right? And his job is to speak for his constituents and limit government spending. Ironically, these are the same people that are advocating and clapping for the Doge cuts. Oh, Elon found the government waste here. Elon found the government waste here. This plan is great. They're all in alignment with saying that as it relates to finding the waste on dumb shit. But in order to balance a budget, it isn't just finding the waste and cutting the waste, which is a great part of it. But another part of it is we can't just then say we're going to add more money to spend. You can't cut $1 trillion in waste and say we're going to add 328 back. You say we're going to keep cutting and we're going to balance the budget. So those people will say that Thomas Massie is grandstanding because Thomas Massie is the person they're going, no, I'm reading through the bills, I'm looking at it. Yeah, it has a cute name or rosy name to it, but it's more filler and bullshit on the inside. And so some people, when you get in this cult-like personality, and again, I'm not saying you can't be MAGA. I'm not saying you can't be Democrat. I'm not saying you can't be a member of the GOP. But when you make it a cult of personality as opposed to limited government, which means fiscal responsibility, and someone is sent to D.C. to speak for his constituents to repeat what those constituents want, you just singling him out as being a so-called grandstander when it's been enough time that Thomas Massie has been on the right side of history. If you can't remember, Thomas Massie was one of the only public servants in D.C. that said no when the COVID money situation was about to happen. When he said they want us to have a unrecorded vote on one of the most, if not the biggest, wealth transfer in American history? No, I'm going to drive from Kentucky to DC, and I'm going to have this conversation, and I want my vote recorded because they're not telling you guys what's going on in there. Same person. Same person that Trump at that time said, we may have one grandstander. He was talking about Thomas Massie. I literally talked to Thomas Massie after he got off of that call with Donald Trump. He told me Trump got on the phone with him and chewed him out for like a half hour, right? This is not about liking Trump. This is not about the Republicans against the Democrats. This is about economic and fiscal, not only responsible moves, but stability. As he said in that clip, the thing that they're advocating for us to do that I'm voting no on, it'll destroy our country economically. This is a serious thing. So the whole like smoke and mirrors, yo, Doge is making cuts, Doge is this, is all for nothing if you guys are then going to, in private, not as highlighted on social media, you guys are then going to, in private, jump out there and say, we're about to add another $328 billion to the deficit this year. Debt is made when you keep printing up money and don't balance a budget, okay? The general public doesn't understand that, but they fall for the smoke and hit mirrors sleight of hand show with the Doge conversation. This does not mean that Doge isn't finding cuts, and it doesn't mean that it's not a valuable thing to do to cut government waste and fraud, no doubt. But you also have to say we're not going to add more debt. But I don't know. Maybe y'all just think, Maj, you just like Thomas Massie. That's your homie, so you gonna ride. Maj, you wasn't all the way MAGA in the first place. Actually, even the MAGA people, right? You're 1,000% got a better handle on this than Democrats in the spending. 1,000%. However, the MAGA people should think, this move that I'm doing, is it just MAGA because I want to own the libs? Or is this an America First move? And fiscal responsibility is a part of America First. So y'all can say whatever you want. Put it in the comment section. If you get something right, you stump me, I'll agree with you. I'm objective. Y'all know that. That's a staple of being a solutionary. But if you get something wrong, expect some pushback. Also, guys, go over to solutionaryuniversity.org. Sign up for a civics class. When you understand how this process is supposed to work, like Thomas Massie does, who's also an engineer, by the way, like literally an engineer, okay? When you understand this process, you see when the GOP is not being fiscally conservative. That is a part of political conservatism. Limited government. You limit government by not giving an unlimited, unbridled amount of spending. And we can go over that in the civics class. Go over to solutionaryuniversity.org. My name is Maj Toure, the founder of Solutionary University. Hope to see you in the class soon. Be safe. Be solutionary.